Where's that mouth call at, bub? He ain't got one.
I don't need one.
All natural. Welcome back to the Chase and Tails Project podcast. This is Hunter.
This is Jacob from the Chase and Tails Project.
And we're going to come at y'all tonight with 4 or 5 different topics. I think we're going to start off with like essential products for a turkey hunter to have. Like if you're new to the game and you don't really know what you need, or you're wondering on the best or the most reliable things you can have in the woods as far as gear and equipment goes, we're going to give that to you. And which, I mean, obviously everybody's going to have their own opinion, but we're going to give you our 2 cents worth. So, Jacob, what do you think is an essential for a new turkey hunter?
There's tons of items, I mean, for someone to start out with, for sure. I would say you're going to definitely need a call, obviously, and then you'll need a gun, your classic essential items. But it really depends on how you want to run, like, your setup. Do you want to be, like, quiet and not as raspy? If so, you might want a slate call versus, like, a glass.
And I think that would be a good idea as far as getting into learning, because, you know, you're not just going to be able to pick up a mouth call and use it in a day. And that's another thing, you know, you got slate calls, a box call. That's always a good option. And you can even get quiet with those for, you know, closer range. But a slate call would probably be your happy medium as you work on a mouth call.
Absolutely.
Because that can definitely be difficult. As far as, you know, clothes or vest, man, you don't need nothing special. I'd say get you a decent pair of camo. It ain't got to be top brand. It ain't got to be Sitka. It ain't got to be
comfortable.
Exactly. Whatever you're comfortable wearing and you can get around in, that's what you should wear. Vest, same thing. You know, it don't have to be a $300 new product. You know what I mean? It could be something that your great grandpa wore 35, 40 years ago. It's nothing special, and that's genuinely some of the best stuff ever made was some of the older stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, in some situations, I feel like a person really doesn't even need a vest anymore since we got the running gun systems and stuff. It really just depends on what. I'm one of those guys. I've got way too many calls for way too many situations that I barely ever use them.
Yeah,
I mean, I've got, like 8 slates or like 8 total pot calls in my vest. Multiple crow calls.
Yep.
Classic owl flute, and then but like I said, you can't go wrong with any setup. And like I said, and turkey hunting's one of those things, I mean, you'll become addicted to it if you get on a bird that's fired up. It's almost impossible not to. But like as far as starting out, I just go with a budget. I wouldn't try to be anything too special, because it's more of a technique than it is like you can buy the most expensive mouth call, most expensive pot call, box, whatever you'd want to buy, but it still doesn't mean you'd be able to run them.
Exactly.
And that's the biggest factor is, and like I said, it's with box calls, great for windy days. You can get soft on some, but it's a little more difficult too. But you can definitely get loud on one. And then I would say I'd get a really good pot call, because most situations you can run a pot call, whether that be glass, aluminum, ceramic, really, I mean, like any of the pot calls you could run would be really good. Like aluminum, super loud and raspy. Slate's super quiet, which is like your most popular is like your slates, because you can do light clucks, purrs. And the yelps are super quiet, and most of the time the quiet kills the birds. But for like a really windy day, or just really a overall kind of a bad hearing day, you would want to run something that's a bit louder. Not just to strike the bird, but to bring him to you. I wouldn't recommend using something super loud if you're going to try to get him in close, like to you, to be like within gun range. Because a lot of times if you become super loud, he knows that you're wanting him, and so he's going to force himself to sit out there and strut, hoping you're going to come to him. But if you be real quiet and you slowly work it, he'll eventually break and come to you to come see what the holdup is, essentially.
Right. And I mean, at the end of the day, it really comes down to 2 things. Um, you know, well, three technically. You need a source of call to grab his attention. You need a gun that you have trust in, that you know you can shoot. And the third one is the most important of all, and that's patience.
Absolutely.
When you're in the woods, 95% of it is a mind game.
100%.
You're questioning whether you should move or this or that. Just stick with what you feel is right, and that, in my opinion, 95% of the time your gut feeling is the right feeling. So I know it's hard to go against what you think you should do rather than your gut feeling. But I guess we're gonna get into. Well, we didn't really talk about guns, did we? I mean, but that's the thing, though.
Any shotgun's a good gun. It's really a distance thing. Like if you want to, because you shoot Longbeard number 5s, and I shoot number 9 TSSs, and it's like really like you don't like TSS. You can reach out there, way out there, and touch them, and you can with number 5s too, especially out of a 3.5-inch gun. But it's really a distance thing. You could take a straight barrel shotgun and do just as much damage up close than you can, because you don't really want to shoot him past, I'd say 50. 50's really pushing it. I wouldn't want to really, like, unless he's just hung up, and that's why I shoot number 9s, and I know I might get hated on for that, but but a lot of times
I shoot TSS.
but a lot of the time they hang up, and that's where TSS kind of comes into play, is a distance shooting. But like I said, number 5s will do the same thing, and I like a smaller gauge. Like I love my 12 gauges, and I just stuttered so hard. But like I love a 12 gauge, but I love a 20 gauge and a 410. I haven't really used a 410 a ton, but nowadays with number 9 TSS, 410s are phenomenally good guns, like insanely good guns. And like I said, gauge really isn't the matter, because like a lot of guys use 28 gauges, and I mean they absolutely work them over, and 16 gauges too, and a 10 gauge, man, you're really
Well, the thing, it's become so popular within the last 4 to 5 years, and that is a 410.
absolutely.
But shooting TSS out of a single shot 410 has become probably one of the most popular things on the market, or hearsay here nor there. I mean, you can kill a turkey with any kind of shotgun.
Absolutely, yeah.
You have to have, I mean, it ain't got to be name brand, it ain't got to be brand new. Just as long as you shoot it and you feel comfortable with it, that's what you need to do.
Absolutely.
But I guess we're going to go in this next topic here, and that is, techniques to seal the deal.
This is a good one.
It is. I'd say one of the biggest ones is to not overcall.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's hard to do.
I know,
It's
because
so
you love
hard
hearing
to
them
do. Yeah,
gobble.
you love hearing them gobble. Ain't nothing like one coming in on a string gobbling.
Right. And
But sometimes it don't work out that way.
kind of like you were saying earlier, and that kind of goes back into what call you're using in the situation, whether it's really loud or not, because a turkey's depth perception of where you are is honestly already incredible.
Yeah, it's been
So if he's within 80 to 100 yards of you, and you're just wailing on a box call, he's like, yeah, that ain't right. You know what I mean? And it's just different types of calls fit different types of situations. So, if you can find a medium where you can call soft, or in situations you can call loud, and you're still comfortable with it, I'd say, that is a technique to seal the deal, because you're not gonna overcall with it. You're not gonna be too much, and you're gonna at least know you have what you need for that situation.
Yeah, it's easier to be too much than too little. Because you can always be too little, and most of the time you'll kill a gobbler. Like a lot of guys, like back home when I was growing up, and all the old school guys, they always ran a box call, and a lot of them still do to this day, just a box call. And that's one thing I've struggled with since I've started turkey hunting, and that is to be able to truly call a turkey up to me with just pure box call. Because like I use them on windy days, long distances, just really trying to strike a bird midday. So usually if I strike them with a box call, I usually slip into a pot call or my mouth call. And like I said, a lot of them older school guys, they would just run a pure box call. but they would hit a few notes on it and then they would set it down. You know what I mean? The further you can get that turkey call away from you, your better odds are of him coming into you and killing him, because the least he is like to want to come to you, because if you're not calling as much to him, it piques his curiosity. He wants to come find out what the holdup is, because like I said, you're breaking nature's barrier essentially. And so if you call a lot, which is the overcalling comes into play. If you overcall a lot and you get him super, super, super fired up, he knows you're coming to him. Why would he want to come to you any further? And a lot of times that's what causes a hang up on a bird.
Absolutely, is overcalling. And like I said, and like you said, it is so easy to do, because in the moment you love to hear him gobble. You got the adrenaline rush. You're like, oh man, this is it. This is my chance. And 80% of the time, whenever you're just wailing on a call because you want to hear him gobble, you're not going to kill that turkey.
No.
It is, and like you said, man, when he hears you just going off like that, in his mind, oh, I've got her in the bag. The same way you think you've got him in the bag, but you're hunting him. He's not hunting you.
Mm-mm.
He understands that if someone is calling to him and seems that interested, that he doesn't have to do anything more than he's doing then. So he's not gonna follow through most of the time. I mean, I've had turkeys come in on a string overcalling, and I've gotten lucky.
The old movie stars.
Yeah, but most of the time, it's gonna result in a hang up and a heartbreak.
Absolutely. And there's nothing more heartbreaking than listening to a turkey gobble 30 or 40 times, thinking that he's coming and he will never break that distance. And a lot of times it's really terrain features. Because like if he gets into a really open spot and you're in a, because like I really don't use decoys. A lot of guys do use decoys, and they do help for like camera angles and stuff like that, because you have a distraction essentially. But I've had like mixed responses from decoys. Like sometimes they'd come in and then they would hang up expecting her to come to them, or they would just come in on a string. And that's why I wind up quit using decoys. I just prefer a thicker spot, because a lot of times he'll come in there and try to find you. It's kind of just like how we was in Alabama. It was super thick privet. You're calling to them, and those birds were working their way into that privet, the actual swamp. They were working, and it was thick. And because he wanted to come figure out what you were doing. And it's because he can't visually see you. A visual, like I said, decoys are amazing for your visual response from a turkey. Because a lot of times, as soon as he sees that hen decoy, he's going to pop a strut. And he's going to work his whole way in, strutting to that decoy. And like I said, for me, it's just mixed. I've had some really great experiences with decoys, and I've had some really bad experiences with decoys. So, and like I said, a decoy is kind of one of your essential items if a person wanted to go that route. Like as a beginner, I would say like your most essential beginner budget item, if you're not very good at calling, let's say you buy a couple pot calls, mouth calls, and it's hard to run them, get you a push yelper. A push yelper, you can call soft, you can call loud. And
you
they're
can
super
purr with it.
You can purr.
I mean, you can do everything.
Fighting purrs, and you could use multiple of them and create like an actual giant fighting purr.
And they're very, very easy to use.
Very easy to use. And like I said, it's really just your bare minimum is what as a beginner I would say, because if you get hooked, you're going to be hooked. You're going to go down the whole rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to learn how to do as much as you can. And really, experience is your best teacher. Always has been. Anything in your life, experience is always going to be your best teacher.
What do you think another technique to help seal the deal is, other than, overcalling and having patience?
Terrain, like I already said, terrain features. And then, I'm trying to think of some other really good techniques that would help you actually seal the deal. Roosting a bird. I feel like roosting a bird is a lot of people say roosted equals roasted the next morning, but a lot of the times it's 50-50. Because like usually when you roost a bird, because they'll tree hop and stuff throughout the night. Say like a predator or something comes into their general area, they'll try to tree hop. And I've had them set up where you've set up way too close to the gobbler itself, and it actually tree hop and it would watch you. Instead of pitching down to where he thinks you're at, he'll tree hop and just watch that spot. So, but like I said, roosting really does help you, because you got a general idea of where he's at. I would set up about 100 to 125 yards from him in a really good spot for the situation, whatever you're hunting, mountains, clear cuts, fields. Just I would set up as not like too far where it's going to create too much of a work for him to come to you, Because a lot of the time, in my opinion, when you roost one, you want to get in there as close as you can to them. And turkeys, like where we're from here in Arkansas, they can fly a long ways because they always go uphill in the afternoons and they'll always pitch out eye level with them and land. So usually when they fly off in the mornings, they're always flying down low. So say you set up in that bottom field, he's liable to fly all the way down there to right in front of you. But sometimes it don't work out that way. But I would definitely say terrain features, calls, and just overall patience, and persistence. Persistence definitely helps you seal the deal the most, because you want to be persistent, but don't beat yourself up on it, because it's not an easy task. It's really not. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes you can luck into it, and sometimes it's really, really difficult. But what do you think? Some more techniques that'll help seal the deal?
Man, in my experiences, and what I've seen out of other people, as long as you know what terrain you're running, and as long as you know when not to overcall in a situation, as hard as it is to do, and I've said this like 8 times already, but 90% of the time that's what can help seal the deal. As long as let's say you've got a field that these turkeys move to, and you've got one gobbling, and they come up and they're going to roost above that field in the evening. They're going to make their way through there. He's gobbled at you once. There's no more reason to call. I mean, right. He's going to make his way up through there naturally, and he's already more interested because you're there. There's really no more need to call. I don't. Which obviously there is more, but I think that's the main.
Your main techniques that'll help you seal the deal. There's a ton of techniques, and we're gonna have future guests on too to discuss techniques, to like a more in-depth perspective, because it's all opinionated. Techniques that'll help you seal the deal is always going to be opinionated, depending on, because some people have more success doing one way and then some don't.
Yeah.
So it's really just like your techniques, but I would say the bigger question would be when to call and when not to call, in my opinion. So what do you think about that?
Well, if you've got a bird that is real quiet, off the roost, there's some birds that'll gobble 2 or 3 times, and there's some that'll gobble 80, 60, 70, 80 times. And then it really all depends about the turkey. That's one thing that I've noticed as well, is like, and I know you think the same way, because we've had conversations about it before, but every turkey is different.
And the best way to check a turkey's temperature is just to check on him all the time. So like if he's gobbling super consistent, then he's hot. That's how you check his temperature. You know what I mean? And you can do that, like we've been doing the last however many days we did it on, was it Monday or was it Tuesday that we went and heard these birds gobble? It was Monday, because then I went back and checked on Wednesday. We went back this afternoon and listened to them, and they were still firing off consistent. So we're just checking their temperature. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it all goes down to, like you're saying, you stay on birds, and they're going to reach a peak.
Absolutely.
And they're going to stay at that peak for a little bit, and then you'll see them, kind of fading, but don't lose hope, because, late season turkeys are the easiest turkeys to kill. You don't have to battle with other hens late season. Whenever at the end of the season, you become the target, because that Tom is looking for all the rest of the hens that he can find, that he can breed, that he hasn't already, or any other Tom hasn't already. But
and the pressure is really not as high. There's not as many people hunting either, because the late season, the more people's already filled their tags, and they're either taking people or they're just not hunting. So you lose a lot of the pressure hunting the late season. And like Hunter said, the birds they're a lot. They're not. I wouldn't say they're super easy to call, but they're definitely a lot more. Like, I guess it would be easy to call to you essentially because there's not as much.
They're a lot more
competition.
responsive.
Yeah, there you go. A lot more responsive, and they're just overall, really, in my opinion, their movement's better because you have a lot more odds of striking a bird because he's going to be more corresponding to your calls because he's going to really want to respond to you. And it just like I said, late season, and just check. I would check if you have private land. I would definitely check my turkey's temperature, because they gobble all the time. A turkey always gobbles, but during spring they gobble a ton more. And like I said, you could go in on a Friday. So say like, okay, so we got the youth hunt Saturday. So tomorrow afternoon we're gonna go attempt to roost a bird, and when we're roosting him, we're gonna check his temperature. And really, it's like, a lot of people say, and we talked about this in the last podcast, that a turkey that gobbles a lot always seems like the easier target because he's more responsive to your calling. And then usually the ones that don't gobble a lot will or most definitely will come in quiet.
Yeah. But that also that keys in with like your older birds, your experienced birds. Personally, at this point in turkey hunting, I would much rather go after the turkey that gobbles 1 or 2 times in the morning and that you can call up, 10, 11 o'clock when he fires up. But I guess with that, we'll go on the next topic, and that is what's the best time of the day to find lone gobblers?
My opinion, I would say midday. Definitely your best time to find them, between 10 to 12. Even, really, in Arkansas, you can hunt all day. So most of the time throughout the day, the birds are going to be by themselves. Because first thing because almost 90% of the time, there's always going to be a hen either roosted near a group of gobblers or within that general area. Because they're seeking that gobbler. So they always roost with them. Like this afternoon, we went and heard these birds gobble, and there was 2 hens with them. One that was a little ways further down the ridge, and then one that was right with them. And what she's doing is she gives the best chances for her to be bred first. And you can call to a hen, and you can actually make the hen agitated. So if you got a gobbler that's hung up, he'll actually come in if that hen's mad, because he'll follow her all the way in there to you. But I would say midday is definitely your best time to find a lone gobbler. And late season, definitely your best time to find a lone gobbler.
Yep. I agree with that. That kind of goes into like the behavior of a turkey. In the morning, getting off the limb, he's gonna find the easiest, closest target. Most of the time, these birds are gonna roost together. Sometimes you'll find a gobbler that'll roost by himself, and those are a hunt within themselves. But eventually, and that all goes with having patience. Whenever you make a call at a turkey and he notifies you that he knows you're there, that's where the waiting game comes in, because you're waiting on him to get done with the birds that he's already with, which he will break off from eventually, and he's gonna come back looking for you. So whether it is 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, or it's 12 or 1 in the evening, I really don't know how to describe it, man. It's just, like I said, every turkey's different, but most of the time, the best time is late morning if you've got a bird with a bunch of other turkeys.
And you can back out on turkeys like that has a bunch of hens with them.
Absolutely.
You could, if you he's got 3 or 4 hens with him right at fly down, you could back out and attempt to go after a gobbler that sounds like he's alone. And usually that'll help you seal the deal on that too, on that lone gobbler. And then if not, you can always come back mid-morning, and he's going to be separated from his hens, because as soon as a hen gets bred, she goes to her nesting area, and she's going to lay an egg throughout that day at some point. And then what it's going to do is it's going to push him away. And see, what's kind of crazy, this is an old wise tale I've always heard, and it makes sense. It really does. Do you know why a hen hides her nest? Besides for predators and...
Mm-mm.
Because if a gobbler finds her nest, he'll stomp out every single egg she has, because it forces her to continue to breed. You ever thought about that? Roosters will do it. all kinds. Any male dominant bird's going to do it, because what it does is it forces her to want to breed that right after that. Because it's like a bird, say like you're mowing a field or tilling up a field, and you till up a turkey's nest. That hen is naturally going to know that she needs to breed in order to continue her cycle throughout that year. And so a lot of times in toms, supposedly, that I've always heard is that when a tom finds a hen's nest, he'll bust her eggs, and that's why she hides them so well. And then that, and also to keep predators away. It's like during rain and stuff like that, a lot of times you don't see a hen on her nest because they're such oily birds.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that right there gives off enough scent, so she tries to stay away from her nest as much as she can.
Right.
And I just thought that was kind of a neat fact.
Yeah, that is really cool. It makes sense though, because you know when, let's say a hen's laying on her nest, it starts to rain, you know, and she's getting wet. It's taking all the oils off her feathers to keep her dry, and it's leaving on the let's say she's in grass or something. It's naturally going to cling on the grass around the most important part of her cycle. What matters to her, you know, is the nest. So if she thinks it's in danger, or she could be endangering it, she's obviously going to leave. So yeah, that definitely makes sense. I guess we'll go into the next topic, unless you have anything else on that.
No, I was about to say, how do you feel about hunting in the wind?
It can be very difficult.
Yeah. Well, which one would you prefer, the wind or the rain?
I would rather hunt in the rain.
Like a hard rain or a light rain?
Either one.
Okay, same here. I love a rain. Field birds. You can always find them in the fields.
And that, it's kind of this, I know it sounds weird, but I feel like it's easier to kill a turkey in the rain, because rain and wind come in together. A turkey's smart, okay? The reason they go to fields during rain and wind is because they're not aware of their surroundings within the woods. They can't hear. It makes it a lot easier for predators to slip up on them. When they go out in the field, they can see their surroundings. They can know what's coming before it hits them.
They change their senses, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Right. I feel like with the rain, I almost feel like it's takes another type of edge off of a turkey rather than wind. I feel like a wind makes a bird more high alert than rain does.
Less it can hear, less it can see visually with all the movement.
Right. With the rain, obviously you're going to have movement, but you're not going to have nearly the movement as if you have a 15, 20 mile an hour wind coming through.
And then also, in my opinion, on why, when you, like for a rainy day, why hunting in the rain is so good is because it forces the biometric pressure to be higher.
Mm-hmm.
So it naturally makes them want to gobble more. And they're called thunder chickens for a reason.
That's the same thing with deer. You know, the higher your barometric pressure is, the more movement you're going to have.
Absolutely.
You know, you look at all these other apps and stuff they made, Deercast, all that tells about the barometric pressure. And whenever it's high, all your animals are moving. Mm-hmm. That's when you see the most movement out of animals. When it's low, it's polar opposite. Exactly. You know, they're going to kind of cling to what they know and not move nearly as much.
Turkeys, like your perfect biometric pressure is like 30.4 or like a 31 is like your prime time to kill one during that pressure. And a lot of it has to do because they can feel it. You know what I mean? In their chest. Like, it's weird. You know how like you can step out into the rain and you can like feel it? Mm-hmm. Like the change, the pressure?
Yeah.
I feel like turkeys are the same way. They can feel that natural change in them. So it makes in my opinion, it makes their air pockets a little more swell. So that way they'll gobble more. They're naturally more inclined to do it.
Right. And it might be easier for them to get a gobble out. Not to mention it could change their mood. I don't know, dude. I'm not a turkey, but, you know, you add a ton of variables up, and it all leads to the same thing, and it's heightening their movement and activity. And so tell me, like, what do you love about the rain rather than the wind?
I love the rain just because it's the rain, and I absolutely love the rain. But I love the rain for the field. You can always find them usually in a field strutting or somewhere in a field usually. Only, in my opinion, the only kicker of hunting in the rain is it naturally makes it more difficult to tell what a Jake and a Tom is from body preferences, because their beard never shows. It's stuck to their chest.
Right.
So it makes it harder for that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like a pop-up and you see him and you're bang, you know what I mean? You're liable to kill a Jake thinking it's a Tom because he doesn't have a beard.
And I'll tell you one thing why I'd rather hunt in the rain rather than the wind, and that is, even though it's raining, you can still get a call and you can still hear a lot better than if it's wind. I feel like I can still reach out and communicate with the turkey a lot better within the rain rather than the wind.
And that could be because of the way the call carries in the rain. You know what I mean? Because it's like naturally denser. And then you can hunt in the wind. There's tons of techniques to kill one in the wind. Go into big bottoms. Find anywhere that's going to be like a funnel, essentially, because you're not going to be at the top of the ridge, so you're not going to be dealing with the most strong winds. And we've killed them in the middle of the wind. It's not. It's like, you know what I mean. You can do it either way. You can do it in the rain, snow. You know, but obviously, surely it ain't gonna snow here in Arkansas in April. But like, you can do it in any weather feature. You know what I mean? If you're persistent enough, you can do it. They don't have to gobble for you to kill one. Right. A lot of guys deer hunt them
in the wind, man. If it's really windy, and I am choosing that day to go because, you know, that's what I have, I'm gonna look for pinch points into fields, main travel routes. Because oftentimes you'll find your deer travel the same places your turkeys do.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
So just because it's a deer trail, so to say, doesn't mean a turkey's not traveling down the same one.
And then rain, you can look for tracks, too.
Right.
That's a huge feature of the rain, too, the mud.
I feel like during the wind, I'm more apt to just kind of sit up somewhere and call every now and then and just wait, rather than in the rain. I find myself running and gunning more in the rain than I do anything. I can slip up on a turkey.
Yeah, the movement.
I can slip up on a turkey a lot better. It's a lot more quiet. I can still get my call out where I need it. And it also forces birds to move out into fields, which for them, they think they're safer, but for us, it helps us out a lot because we're able to see them.
Exactly. And then it's like, for us, it's a turkey's disadvantage, but for us, it's actual an advantage. It's just like deer hunting in the rain. There's a lot more going on. It's harder to hear. It's harder to see. Everything's a lot darker, so your camouflage is a lot like darkish. You know what I mean? Like more dark because you're wet. You're obviously going to be wet. And a drizzle, perfect. If you have a light drizzle, do not be scared to go turkey hunting. You are going to have probably the best day of your life.
Yeah.
And if it's hard rain, then you can always just set up, find you a really thick cedar tree or something near a field edge, and then just, if you're running decoys, you can set decoys up and hope for a quiet bird to slip in that just naturally visually sees the turkey decoy. There's a ton of techniques, but in my opinion, every day is a good day to hunt. It's just like deer season, man. I will not miss, no matter the weather conditions, because any day could be that day that giant slips up.
Yeah. Here's another factor with the rain, though, and a lot of people overlook this. What comes with rain most of the time? Thunder. And they're not called thunder chickens for no reason.
No. There's nothing that gets you more amped up than a
Yeah, I know. Man, and you know, you got lightning, which thunder is the noise that comes off of lightning when you can't see it. So, I mean, it's the same thing. Just, I don't know. A bird, let's say that he's not being as vocal with you, and I can argue with anybody 7 ways till Sunday on this, and that is, I don't think there's a better source for getting a turkey to gobble other than thunder.
Oh no, it don't matter. That's 100% your best.
You can take a hoot owl, coyote howl. You can do whatever you want.
Any locator call, your natural thunder is always going to be your best.
I mean, you got to think,
because it shakes the ground too.
These turkeys are, I mean, so you hear a hoot owl, right? You go outside and you hear a hoot owl. What scares you more? If you walk outside and you hear a hoot owl and you're like, oh, that's cool. Or if lightning strikes like 100 yards away, like, oh my God.
You're running.
Yeah, no joke. And, that's a sense of vibration that you can personally feel within the air, through the ground, through your feet, through everything.
It's
So,
more naturally shocking, like legitimately shocking. It's a shock gobble.
and that's, if it's raining, the leaves are damp, you can slip up on a turkey and it's thundering, he's gobbling. You have to realize that hunting in the rain, so to speak, if it's thundering and you got a turkey gobbling, you're able to slip up on him within a certain range and you soft call.
Oh, it's over with. You break that bubble, it's over. It's on.
And no joke. And he's gonna come right to you. He's like, oh, that's a hen for sure.
And being in the bubble will absolutely help you seal the deal too. Being in his natural bubble, because if you don't call loud, you know what I mean. Because there's like
every turkey has a bubble.
A bubble, and you can get inside. If you get inside of that bubble, it's gonna be on. He's gonna come in, whether he comes in strutting, quiet, or running. I've seen him running. I mean, Alabama.
Yeah,
the suckers were sprinting in.
That was crazy.
You know what I mean?
That was awesome.
But like I said, I feel like any day is a good day to hunt. Don't let an opportunity pass you because of weather conditions.
You can kill a turkey in any type of weather.
Absolutely. And there's, like I said, you could sit and just wait one out and deer hunt it. A lot of guys don't like deer hunting. I don't like deer. I mean, I love deer hunting, but like not deer hunting a turkey.
Yeah.
Because you find fresh scratching. And if you know they're going to come back into a roost area, and since here in Arkansas you can hunt all day, you could technically set up in a really good roost area, and your potential to kill one is very high right at towards the last hour of light or so. Because he's going to naturally come back into that general area. And like I said, with these big hilltops, a lot of times, first thing in the morning, they're going to pitch way down off in the bottoms, and then they're going to work their way all the way back up the mountain. So that way they can fly right back out eye level, and that way they can glide. Because turkeys will glide forever out here. Across rivers, just whatever, you know what I mean, fits the turkey, essentially.
Right.
What his plan is for that day, what his game plan is for that day.
At the end of the day, we started out with, the essential gear for new hunters. Man, if you're listening, just don't get freaked out by all the new gear, all new this and new that. You don't need it. It's nice to have in some situations, but you definitely do not need it to kill a turkey. Like Jacob was saying, just start out with what you can get, and I promise you, if you have any 1/10 of an experience as I've had, you will be absolutely hooked. And that goes for anybody. Man, this turkey hunting to me is a different type of breed than any other hunting. The only thing I've found close to it's elk hunting, and we're going out to Utah this year, so man, I'm excited to bring you all along on that, but we haven't even got to turkey season yet, so.
No. That's going to be a whole nother world of experience, elk hunting is. I mean, it's turkey hunting on steroids. That's what I've always heard.
We have an elk hunt, archery elk hunt in Arkansas this year, which I'm absolutely pumped up about.
Yeah, stay tuned for that for sure, because that's going to be, I've never ever hunted an elk in Arkansas. I've seen a bunch, but I've never truly hunted one, and that would be, especially with a bow, would be nuts. And then so what's some tips for finding turkeys on public land, like super pressured birds? I'm talking like April 28th here, because we open the 20th, isn't it? Yeah, we open the 20th, so the 28th.
So we're talking
like your first Saturday, so it'd be the 27th, or 26th. Yeah, it'd be your 26th, your first Saturday. That's not, your weekends are always going to be your most packed times. Wednesdays and Thursdays are best days to kill one during the week.
I would think, for me personally, if I was going to an out-of-state place and I knew it was going to be pressured, honestly, I would get boots on the ground. I would find good terrain, so to speak, for that state. And there'll be tips and tricks to every place you go. Just people talking about it, where they've been, what they've done, tracks, gobbler poop. Dude, if you can find any sort of turkey sign, fresh scratch, those three things, yeah, like you've got
Turkey scratch and dust bowls.
Yeah, man, like
a roost tree, killer.
Yeah,
a roost tree that's covered in turkey crap, killer. Not vulture, turkey crap is killer.
Yeah, that's the wrong kind of turkey.
Yeah.
But it all goes down to just really getting your boots on the ground, getting into it, getting experience.
And local intel never hurts. Absolutely never hurts. That's if someone locally wants to speak about it, because turkey hunting's such a hush-hush thing.
I'll just
That's
tell you
why
what, boys, don't do that in Alabama.
No.
Don't ask nobody for help in Alabama.
Yeah.
They'll try to get you a felony.
Well, we met those one guys that were pretty alright.
Yeah,
guys.
they were pretty cool.
But a lot of people are so hush-hush on turkey. That's why we're doing the podcast and all that. It's just to kind of...
We're here to help you guys.
We're trying to hear... Yeah, we're here to help. We're not trying to be quiet about anything that we've learned. That's why we're hoping to get future guests on, like a bunch of guys that we grew up with.
We've got some guys in line.
Absolutely.
Lined up that we're eventually going to have on the podcast, and we're super excited for that and to be able to share that with y'all as well. So...
And then you can learn, because like I said, growing up, like your old guys or your older gentlemen, they're always gonna be, they're always gonna be killer, absolutely always gonna be killer, because they've done it, they've lived it, they have the experience, and that's why a lot of the older guys don't call very often, and that's usually your guys who kill the big double bearded, triple bearded turkeys. I mean, absolute thumpers. You know what I mean? Mountain monarchs, and it's just time. Really, time is it. I used to be the most run and gun whole guy there ever was. You know what I mean? I just want to get it done right then and there. And I still am. There's still some of that left inside of me, for sure. But I like the game. There's nothing like a cat and mouse. And turkeys are nothing but a cat and mouse game. I've hunted turkeys and called him, and he'd be hammering over here, and he'd work his way over to me and hang up about 100 yards. So I'd circle way back ahead of him, and the next thing I know, he'd be over there where I was at calling, because he'd eventually give up on me because I never called to him again from that spot. And then you're just playing cat and mouse with him. The rest of the time, you're just playing cat and mouse with him. And it's a very hard sport because of the hush-hushness about it. But if you know someone who's and that right there is another thing that'll help you sell the elk. Go hunt with somebody that's experienced, someone that's willing to teach you. I mean, and we've got YouTube nowadays. YouTube's insane for amount of intel that you can find, and books. If you can find any older books, they really will help you a lot, because you learn information that's really not put out there on social media anymore. And so that right there will actually help you a ton. And then find you a buddy, or find you a partner, or someone that wants to have the same mindset as you, and then just go out there and learn it. Because a lot of people, it's a group effort, turkey hunting is. And it's a sport that absolutely loves group hunting. Like deer hunting, I love being a lone wolf. Turkey hunting, it's so much more fun when you're with somebody, because you get to enjoy the aspect. When you're by yourself, you just kind of absorb it. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to bask in it.
Yeah.
But like if you're with a buddy or something, you just go insane, like us in Alabama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Y'all see in the video. And that's what keeps us going. That's the tradition. And then I was gonna ask you, what's a tradition that you would love to carry on forward from, like, say, previous years into nowadays? Like, what's something you do every time that you harvest a turkey?
I thank God.
Absolutely.
For
Well,
one.
yeah, number one for sure.
But I'd usually, just like I said in the video, man, there's nothing like the peace you get, like, as soon as you harvest a turkey. When the camera goes off, man, I feel like I'm able to be in a place that I don't get ever. Like
a serenity.
I take time away from everything. I zone out of the world, and I zone into that moment.
Absolutely.
And I'm sitting there with this beautiful creature that God has given me an opportunity to harvest, and I feel like the most blessed person on the planet. It's undescribable unless you've been there, and if you haven't been there, I fully encourage it.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no better feeling, you know what I mean? Because that's who you want to give praise to first, because he allows us to be in this situation, allows us to be pursuing this beautiful creature, and then for protecting us, because turkey hunting, man, it's a dangerous sport. Because a lot of times you wear full camouflage, there's no orange, like deer hunting.
A lot of people die,
and a lot of people get really dumb when it comes to a turkey gobbling. I mean, last year, opening day of turkey season, every time this turkey would gobble, there was another truck parking and walking off in here. Not even caring that there was already 4 dudes that are all targeting the same bird, they're going to decide that they want it more, and that's what usually winds up happening and winds up in an accident, is someone getting shot, someone being caught in a crossfire. So really it's just ethics. Ethics is your biggest thing. You know what I mean? No turkey is worth being shot over or causing a giant issue with somebody. No turkey's worth it. There's so much opportunity out there for you to chase a bird. You do not have to do it tiptoeing behind somebody.
It's like, it goes back to do unto others as you want done upon yourself. It just kind of falls in the category, have respect for others, but also have more respect for yourself.
Absolutely.
When you walk in on somebody, knowing that somebody's in there, that somebody could have worked weeks, months to find this spot and had preparation to come in here and hunt these turkeys, or somebody that's been hunting for 5-10 years, that's never had an opportunity to kill a turkey, and maybe this morning was their opportunity. You just need to
think of others before yourself.
Absolutely. If it's meant for you to kill a turkey,
it's just like a giant deer. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
You're gonna kill one. Just make sure that you have respect for other people when you do it the right way,
and you have the ethics behind it. And then, like, kind of a funny story, actually. There's a local guy back home, and I had roosted this turkey. So did he. Neither one of us ever realized. We were both hunting the same bird. I parked at one gate. He parked at one gate. And I was calling this turkey, and this other hen kept answering me and kept pop, 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 getting agitated. So I thought it was a real hen. And so we just had this like lashing, this like bash between each other for like 30-40 minutes. This turkey just pow, pow, pow. And I was like, man, what the heck? You know what I mean? And because I was looking on my Onyx and it looked like it was coming right down the logging road. So I was like, that hen's working. I got to cut her off. And he was thinking the exact same thing. And we wound up meeting in the middle of this old logging road. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you were hunting this. Super old, or he's older. He's in his 70s or 60s at least by now. And I've known him my whole life. And he has hearing aids, so he can't really hear like super well, you know what I mean? And that was the first turkey he heard all year long, you know what I mean? And I didn't realize that he was in there. And so when we met in the middle, he told me, he's like, you go kill that turkey because you beat me here this morning. And I was like, well, where'd you park at? And he's like, I parked way over here. I was like, brother, I parked way over here, you know what I mean? And we'd said times, we both got there around the same time. And I told him, I was like, you go get it, you know what I mean? Because you never know when it could be their last turkey, you know what I mean? And you got plenty of years, and there was so much land over there, and I went off, and I wind up calling up a bird, and then wind up whiffing it, which happens. But anyhow, so he begged me to go after it, and we started to hunt it together, and then I was like, nah, I'm going to back out, because he just kept, you know what I mean? It was just like that distance battle, and we was just sitting there, arguing, because he wanted me to go get it, and I wanted him to go get it. And so eventually I told him, I was like, look, man, I'm backing out. You go after this turkey. And he wound up killing him around 11 o'clock that day.
That's awesome.
And he had worked. That was the only bird he had heard all year. You know what I mean? And you just got to think. Because, like, yeah, I could have got that bird. I could have been like, yeah, I'm hunting it. I was here first. You know what I mean? Whether I was there first or not, because I ain't selfish. So I was like, man, you go after it. Because you never know when it could be your last turkey.
Right.
I've got plenty of years. And I know so much land. And like I said, that was the only turkey he heard gobble. I had already heard 6 others that I could have went and chased. And I wind up chasing one, whiffing it, and so on and so forth. But it just goes to show a little bit of respect goes a long, long, long ways. It really does. Because he wind up harvesting that bird. That's the only bird he harvested all year. Only turkey he heard all year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and like I said, just have some ethics. It's not something to die for. It's not something to just absolutely change your whole life. And turkeys will make you go through it. I'm talking blood, sweat, and tears.
No joke.
But it's not worth losing your cool over a turkey. And I had the perfect run-in last year. You know what I mean? With Fever Dream, when I was hunting him for 5 days, and I had 5 guys walking on me 5 days in a row. You know what I mean? But like I said, it's just one of those things. Just be respectable. You know what I mean? Like, evidently they wanted that turkey badder than I did. And then I left him, and then I wind up being the one who killed him. You know what I mean? So it's just an ethics thing. If you see someone who beats you at the gate, it don't matter if you'd roosted that turkey or not. At least pull up next to him and talk to him. Because you never even know if he knows that bird's in there. He could be targeting a whole nother area. It's just like deer hunting. you can always stop and ask somebody, and they could be hunting a whole nother ridge, and you're hunting this ridge, and most of the time they'll allow you to go in there. They don't. I mean, I get it, it's public land. Like, there's nothing that says that you can't go in there, but since he can, you know what I mean. But it's a respect thing,
Right?
Because if he beats you there, back out. It's not worth
Shout
causing
out-
an issue.
And shout out to those. So it was the day after I shot my bird in Alabama. We camped at one of the most pretty spots
Beautiful spot.
I've ever seen, and we were camping right by the gate.
Yeah, it was
And
awesome.
we heard a car pull in at like, I don't know, what, 5 in the morning?
Yeah, right at it. About
And
4:45 or something like that.
These boys jumped out of their Jeep, got their stuff on as quick as they could, turned their lights on, and walked right up in there. Which, kudos to you. It's public land. But that just goes back to like a respect thing. Like, we took our time. We
spent the whole night there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
put we made a bet on this place, and we stuck with it. And I mean, even if they would have went up in there, it would have just been nice for them to, hey man, we roosted turkeys here, because we weren't there the day before. They could have roosted turkeys there the evening before. But it's just like the having respect. And after that, we were getting our stuff on, and 2 other guys pulled up. They were from Alabama as well, and 2 very nice guys. They could have got their stuff and walked in as well, but they waited on us to kind of get around, get our stuff out of the truck, and they walked up to us, hey man, where are you going? We don't want to get on top of y'all. We want to respect, where you're hunting out, where you're going. We don't want to walk in on or ruin your hunt.
And we weren't even hunting that spot, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's just like if they would have never talked to us and they would have just been mad and drove off, they wouldn't even been able to hunt that spot.
Exactly.
But instead, they had the courtesy to stop and talk to us, and they went off in there and hopefully harvested a bird. We never heard no shots,
Right.
but it was a really quiet day too down there. It wasn't a whole lot of goblins. Like actually, we heard one way off.
One turkey.
But it's a courtesy thing, I mean, it's just like fishing or anything. You want to have a little respect for people, whether you know them. It could be a complete stranger, but you still want to have respect, and that's where your ethics come in. It comes huge into play.
Well, I guess we are done harping on you guys, but
The rant is over.
we appreciate y'all for listening in, and
Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the content.
yeah, I know we don't have any videos up yet, but they're gonna be good ones when we do, and we have a lot of stuff coming at y'all this year. So we got new hats, we got new shirts, and if you want to get a shirt or a hat, you can just
Or a glass call. We have our own custom glass calls.
Chase and Tails project.
Double glass.
I've got the link in my Facebook to that, and then you can also comment on our post on Facebook. That'd be easier because half the time I don't get messages through Messenger. So if you want anything, just head over there, the Chase and Tails project on Facebook, and just drop a comment on our post about the merch, and we'll get you hooked up. But
And then I'll shout out to Ozark Ridge game calls
Yeah.
for sure. Our buddy Dalton makes some phenomenal calls. If you guys get a chance to, definitely check him out. He's a great dude.
we have a lot more stuff with him
Planned. Yeah, there's a bunch more stuff that's
coming in,
undergoing.
and there's a lot of stuff getting worked on right now. We're still on the first steps of this journey,
Absolutely.
but it's gonna be awesome,
And we love it. We look forward to it. And if you guys want, we may start doing Q&As. If you guys got questions,
Yeah.
just comment them below. And then our next podcast, or we might pick a certain day throughout the week for a Q&A. And then we'll do purely a podcast on Q&A. And then, yeah, absolutely. And then I hope everybody has an amazing opening weekend of youth season here in Arkansas. And then God will watch over you, and then just have an absolute blast. And
absolutely.
And thank God for another beautiful day in Arkansas.
No joke. Well, for now, that's it from the Chase and Tails Project podcast, and
We'll catch y'all later.
yeah, catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side. Y'all have a great time.